All right, here we are with the Hisense U75QG, the 2025 variant. I can tell you by default, when it starts loading up, there's some clouding. So that's the first thing I notice. It doesn't look fantastic. I'm gonna raise my camera sensitivity to light, also known as ISO, so you guys can get an idea of what the hell I'm actually seeing. So we're gonna raise it up so you can see that. It's pretty cloudy. Doesn't look fantastic. I even have a bright spot at the top up here somewhere. Yeah, that ain't wonderful either. So again, it doesn't appear like it's going to be perfect. I wasn't expecting perfection though, if I'm being completely honest. So I'm not really gonna dock it too hard on not being perfect. I just need it to be competent enough to do the job. And we'll see if it's that, but this is the time also where you guys ask your questions. As always, when we do these reviews, there's always going to be something you have curiosity towards. So again, I can't stress the importance through this entire process of just letting your voice be heard and saying what it is that you need to say. Again, pertaining to, is this a good TV or not, so on and so forth. So now that we have that all situated and squared away, I'm going to focus on my TV here. Okay, good enough. And we're met with the welcome page here, okay? Gradationally, I'm seeing some weird things happen out of the gate. Don't know how well this is gonna pick up on camera or if it will even show up at all, but there is definitely some weirdness happening gradationally. So I'll raise my sensitivity to light, or ISO. Maybe you can see that. Where the left side of the screen is dark, the right side is really bright. Very strange thing that happened with that. Okay, so now I'm going to select the English language settings. We're going to be in the United States. Now, they're going to ask you if you want to do a QR code to do the Google setup, which I think is pretty neat. But I'm just going to do the manual TV setup with the remote. As for mode select, I'm going to do the retail mode. Now it's going to ask me to get the most out of my TV by signing into my Google account, to which I'll say, no, thank you, not interested in that. Then there are the forced Google terms of service. All you have a choice to do is accept. Now, what is unique is I'm noticing that instead of 3 paragraphs, they've condensed it down to 2 paragraphs, but it really honestly doesn't matter what they're saying because you can't get out of this regardless. So you have to click accept or, oh well. Now we're gonna have to click accept to more stuff. Again, they want location on. You can turn this shit off. You don't have to, but I feel like if you do that, they're gonna do some fucked up shit to like tie it to like weather and all that stuff. So, I mean, you can technically turn it off, but they're probably not gonna let you. And then they're like improve Google's diagnostics, and I don't really feel like doing any of that, so I just turn that one off. But click accept, and then you can move forward. They're gonna ask you to pair the remote. Kind of stupid that there's not like a skip button on this one because it's already paired, but I'll just go ahead and pair it again, even though it's already done. So that's one of the annoying parts with this process too. Again, I'm noticing that it doesn't look great so far. Just throwing that out there. It doesn't look great so far at all. Maybe it'll get better, but so far we got some limitations. Definitely have some limitations. Okay, so now it's all set up and it's complete. We're gonna wait for this little spindle wheel to see what it does, and we're gonna get an idea of what this TV looks like and how good it is or is not. I'm not really expecting a whole lot, so all they've got to do is meet the bare bones, I suppose. I'm initiating the store demo just so I can see what it looks like. And it's the same old demo that they've been rocking for a couple of years now. I'm gonna sit back so I can really get an idea of what it looks like. It's bright. It's definitely a bright TV, not too bright, but it looks pretty balanced. Contrast looks really good, like really, really good. I noticed the typical issues with the blue tint that Hisense does have, so you will probably have that as an issue. Processing looks good. Sharpness looks impeccable. I mean, seriously, I don't have any issues with that. That looks really good. More depth than anything, though, is what I'm noticing here. The AI depth part, it's actually kind of insane that we're talking about a Hisense right now. It doesn't even feel real, like we're at a point where Hisense TVs can actually produce such a good picture like this, but they definitely are. I mean, this is impressive. Like, the colors on the black background look really good. So there was clouding. We're going to have to put the local dimming through the test. But so far, I mean, on this at least, it's inky, deep, and black. But of course, you know, once we get to stress testing stuff, that's where we see all the problems. But we'll check it out for sure. So far, so good, though. I mean, again, store demos are known to impress you and razzle and dazzle your mind or whatever. Now, this says it's up to 3,000 nits of peak brightness. I don't see it quite being 3,000 nits, but this definitely is in the over 2,000 nit category for sure. But it's beautiful, like very sharp, very crystal clear. It just looks really fucking good, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, again, starting off, not really impressed with what I saw, and then now I'm looking at it here, and I'm like, this is fucking impressive. If I saw this in a store, it would snatch my eye, and I'd want to fucking buy it. Now, I was really nervous about the anti-reflective material, thinking that they would do some bullshit like put a matte screen on it. They did not, so that's good news for anybody who doesn't want a matte finish screen. And yeah, so far so good. I mean, there's some haloing, but not blooming, if that makes sense. It's just a little glow where you can see the LED light. But again, nothing too terrible. So what I'll do now is get some examples up on the screen so we can see what this thing actually is capable of doing. All right, now we're checking out the out-of-the-box picture quality, and we're gonna go over some modes. We're using Sony's demo here to show you what it looks like with contrast and all that good stuff. And so far out of the box, it really doesn't look that bad. I see a decent amount of contrast to where I'm kind of satisfied and feel like it has a shit ton of potential for sure. That's rare. Usually it doesn't really have much to offer. It's gonna be curious to see how this stacks up against the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II. So we are definitely going to be comparing that. So again, just be ready for that because it's gonna happen. But at the same time, I think this is very, very interesting to see Hisense in their mid-range. And I'm not gonna lie, this is going really good so far. I mean, out of the box with some cloudiness, native contrast, I was not impressed with. But the speakers are absolutely incredible. Love the sound on this TV. And so far, the picture is looking pretty fucking good too. I can't complain so far. Again, out of the box, again, it looks pretty good from what I look for. And for those who are new here, what is it that I'm looking for? I'm looking for depth. I'm looking for isolation of subjects like the bike in that last example. I'm looking for contrast. And again, it loads of contrast right here. So I know by the time I put my work into it, this thing is gonna be one of the more three-dimensional TVs I think we'll see this year. And that's really, really good because normally you have to really, really struggle to get a lot out of the picture quality. As far as the color temperature, it leaves a lot to be desired. I'm not really seeing where it's amazing, but I do see colors have a shit ton of potential. So I am very excited to just dive on in. Now, one of the things that I do want to do is go over the picture settings because that is one of the most important parts, period. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're in the energy saving mode. There's theater day, there's theater night, there's filmmaker, there's vivid, there's standard, there's sports, there's PC and game mode bundled together, and then it goes back to energy saving. So we're gonna start in the standard picture mode, and we're just going to look at our options. We have apply to all sources as an option. Now let's see what's under the brightness tab. So local dimming, we're gonna set that to high. It does tend to wash out a little bit, so the lower you make it, this is unfortunately, brightness is tied to local dimming, which I don't like when LED manufacturers do this. I don't know the reason, to be very honest with you, why they do this, but it is tied to it. So just keep that in mind, but I will raise it. Peak brightness is set to medium. You can set it to low, and you can set it to off and high. It's very, very bright, as you can see, very pale looking when you do that versus when you turn it down. It's not as egregious, obviously. But fuck it, we'll just go crazy and let it be at the brightest it can be, because why not? Black levels, contrast, detail. You have dark detail, gamma 2.2, you have gamma 2.4, BT 1886, and then you have 2.0. I'm just gonna put it at the SDR industry standard of BT 1886. Now, HDR Enhance, you can turn this on or off. It will give you a shit ton of contrast, but it does tend to break things if I remember how it worked on the U8G. So yeah, I don't or not the U8G, the U8QG. or something like that. These model numbers, they gotta find an easier, more simplistic way of labeling models, because this is just not working most of the time. But we're gonna leave that off. Now we're gonna look at our color options. We have color temperature as follows: standard, cool, warm 1, warm 2, and then standard again. So I'll put it on warm 1 just to get started. They do have a blue light filter. I will not be turning that on. Color spaces are as follows: native, auto, BT709, DCI-P3, Adobe RGB, BT 2020, and native. Again, that fantastic color space coverage. They give you pretty much all of them. You do have a dynamic color enhancer on top of that. You have a low, medium, and a high. So I'd like to think we can get some stuff cooking with that. Under the clarity options, you have the following. You have smooth gradation, typical noise reductions. You have your motion enhancement, which goes from standard, smooth. You have off and custom, film, clear. So they give you a bevy of different options. For me, I like maxing out motion processing. That's a personal take. Some people don't like it, and I can't help them with that. Now, one thing I'm really impressed with Hisense is that you're able to use their black frame insertion technology called motion clearness better than pretty much everybody else on the market. There is no flicker whatsoever, and that is so very rare. Normally there's ridiculous flicker, and I don't have anything like that. I just have an exceptional picture that comes as a result of using this feature. And I gotta say, that's something that I absolutely love, because it makes it a lot easier for just literally everybody to just get in and get what you want out of it. I'm really excited to see where this is gonna go, because so far this is going really fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna go and see our calibration settings, color tuner. We have our color management system. We have white balance. It goes up to 20 point. We have our gamma calibration still, and we have Kalman's service. Okay. Now, one of the things that I do need to check, if I remember correctly, it was in the settings, the actual settings menu. So I'm going to go to the settings menu to figure out where that is. It's going to be under display and sound. Then we're going to go down to intelligent settings. And yep, this is where the sauce is at. AI super resolution. The fact that this TV has it and it's on by default, this is why it looks so amazing. I remember being very impressed with this feature. They do have an AI contrast feature this year too. I mean, I'm not lying when I tell you Hisense really, I feel like they're probably the MVP this year, and they're definitely the king of all of the mini LEDs from what I've seen, because this contrast feature alone is just pretty cake. The fact that you have something like this, it brightens it up, darkens it where it needs to be darkened. I mean, you have a lot going for yourself with this feature. So yeah, and we'll do some maybe like tests to show you what it's doing differently, so on and so forth. But those two things I would recommend you turn on: AI contrast and AI super resolution. You can also put super resolution to medium if you find that high is just too much, but you have the choice. You're not like forced by default to adopt one over the other. And I gotta say, that's some shit I really appreciate. I like options, and the more options you can give me, the better my experience is likely going to end up being. So I'll keep it on high for that. I don't use the intelligent modes because I find that they're really stupid overall, but so far that's where we're at, okay? And this is out of the box picture quality. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not like it's the most impressive thing I've ever seen, but just in a few clicks, literally, as you saw, like what little I've changed, the picture is good. And I genuinely believe Hisense is one of the only people or only brands where out of the box, with literally in a handful of clicks that I did, you're able to get a good picture. So that means their white balance isn't as disgusting as something like, let's say, maybe Sony, where it's a bit more egregious and looks very, very aggressive. I feel like this one has a lot more potential, is what I'll say. It's gonna need work. There are no two ways about that. But I want to show some of the initial test footage that I always like to show on this channel, so that you can get an idea as to how it's performing. Just like you buy it and you plug it in, like, I'm not gonna lie, the shit's fucking impressive as hell. This, from like my experience, for everybody who is wondering, since I've been doing this for over a decade, looks like a $3,000 television. From everything I've seen out of $3,000 TVs over the years, this has that look. The clarity, the sharpness, the color, the depth of contrast, the isolation, the visibility of the black parts of the image to the brightest parts of the image, the visibility of the midtones, the micro contrast, the highlight detail, all of it is just damn impressive. I would even go and venture to say that this is almost every bit as impressive as the Hisense U8G was, or the U8QG was. This is really, really impressive, and I'm just running demo content. I haven't run real content, I haven't run real tests, but it does look pretty damn good. Now, let's say we want to get out of that demo content. That's why I have all my stuff loaded up on a flash drive, so we can see what it's actually doing. Out of the box, let's see if it's still impressive if we go into this mode. No, it's really blue. We kind of expect that, but I will say orange and, you know, that shade like of red looks really good. And I genuinely do not feel like it will take me a long time to get this to look like an absolute S rank of a television. I feel like I could do this within maybe 3 or 4 hours realistically to get it to peak perfection. And that's saying a lot because normally TVs take days to weeks to get to absolute peak perfection. And I feel like this TV is so close to that already. Out of the box, again, you know, color temperature's off. As you see in this example, it's blue, but we can fix that. You can always fix a color temperature. If it's too blue, you can warm it up. You know, but the things that you can't fix that usually take weeks is like getting depth where there is no depth. Like with the Samsung S95F, that was a really hard TV to get depth out of. You know, the Sony Bravia 8 Mark II, really hard to get depth out of that TV. Colors, getting them to look correct, highlights, to get them balanced to where it's not overexposing everything. Now, one thing I am seeing is there is considerable banding on this display, and I don't know that that's something that we're going to be able to defeat, so we're going to actually look at that right now, because again, I'm giving you a first impressions. I do want to be thorough about it. So we're going to go into the clarity settings where they have smooth gradient. Right now it's set to low. So let's go to medium, no change. Let's go to high. High smooths it out a bit more, but the banding is still there. Off is just unacceptable. So yeah, you're gonna have to rock it at high. I mean, you're just gonna have to do that. I don't like using the noise reduction features on medium. I usually like to leave them on low just because it softens the image just way too much. And if you use the smooth gradation feature on top of that, it usually gets worse. But the highlights are good. There's a lot of, again, popping highlights, good color, not fantastic, but it's also not low-end color is the one thing I want you guys to know. Usually when you have these mid-range TVs, color gets really low-end really fast, and so does the brightness. And it's not happening on this TV like that. This is just looking like a flagship TV, if I'm being very honest with you. Like this image alone, I have put no work into this TV really, and it already looks fucking amazing. I know from experience and from doing this where it's going to go. And I think that's the part I think you guys should be really, really, really excited about is the fact that here's a TV we can actually afford across multiple sizes. So you can get a 75, 85, you know, so on. And you're not going to be breaking your bank, okay? You're not going to be spending $3,000 for a fucking 55-inch like what Sony wants, or $2,500, $2,200 for a 55-inch, or over $3,000 for a 65-inch like these flagships want. But I am looking at flagship quality, and I will prove it with the tests that I do. I'm going to tell you a lot of people are going to feel like I'm augmenting or just trying to make Hisense shine. I don't care. I'll say that ahead of time just so we get that out of the way. I'm going to make it look as good as I can, and I know for a fact, with total confidence, this TV's about to fucking absolutely hum like a kitten. Because if it looks this good out of the box with a handful of adjustments, I know what I can do to it. And that's not like tooting my own horn. That just lets you know the aptitude that this TV natively was given by Hisense and the great job Hisense did for this TV. So definitely keep it locked if you want to see that. But as far as the first impressions, I mean, yeah, I think it's actually one of the more impressive TVs. I'll put up something that's more movie content based because again, I want you to see what it looks like with skin tones and things like that too, because out of the box, I mean, look at it. It's almost done. And I've rarely ever seen this. I think the only TV that ever really gave me this feeling was a TCL S546, and it was really dim. But the highlights were really good, and the color was really good, but it was just too dim. This feels like if the TCL S546 had more under the hood, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, it feels like a really competent TV. And I'm not gonna lie, I am literally, because if you guys been watching the channel, my Sony Bravia A8G literally just died, my 65-incher. That was my living room TV. I'm genuinely on the lookout for a new TV. So if this goes good, I'll probably get like the biggest size that I could get of this TV and then just throw it in my living room. That's how, like, I mean, it could go. So either way, I'm literally advising you, but I'm also keeping my eye open as well. So big thing about here, Quantum TV, we don't do this whole nonsense of just selling you just to sell you. I don't believe in that. It has to be something I believe in and it looks good. And so far, first impressions, without doing any real work to it, I'd say this is a really damn good TV and one of the more impressive ones for my personal experience. Now, that being said, I would love to know what you guys thought about this in the comments down below. Of course, we will continue with testing and I need you to give me feedback so I know what to put up on the screen. But again, the pop, the clarity, the highlights, all of this shit is just impressive out of the box. It just is. And I don't ever say that. Like, if I'm saying it, you know the shit's true, because what the fuck? Like, this is impressive out of the box. I mean, you just got to lower the brightness just a wee bit. I'll show you, okay, before I go, what I'm talking about. Look, all you have to do is lower the brightness just a little bit on this TV. I could see it already, okay? So watch what happens when I lower the brightness. Here's the brightness, okay? And we're just gonna lower it a little bit. I'm gonna guess, without even doing anything, I'm gonna guess 75 to 80 is gonna be the sweet spot for this TV. So I'll go straight to 80, right? And let's go to 75. And there you go. It looks so much better, you know what I mean? Without any real effort. And that's just lowering the brightness. So if you can imagine with actual adjustments custom to this display, what it will actually look like, it's gonna be incredible. Because if you look at the highlights, like here, how I'm arriving to this, for anybody wondering, when you have brightness that isn't dependent on the global screen or full screen brightness, but instead it finds the highlight in the scene and it brightens up the highlight around this particle effect, you know this is gonna be a fucking amazing experience because you still have very high peak nits right here. That's very high. But I've lowered it to like, what, 75, and it only makes this tighter. So because it makes this tighter, I mean, I'm gonna have a ball with this damn thing. It's gonna be fun. And if you wanna see what that's gonna be like, make sure you keep it locked. As always, I wanna thank you guys so much for watching and trusting what I do here and being a part of this community. Seriously, I appreciate you guys. And I want to thank you guys for watching the #1 brand in honesty. Keep it locked. I'm going to get started on this TV, but let me know what you want to see in the comments down below. And until the next video, I'll see you guys later.